What's up, everyone? It's Bones here. In today's video, I'll be doing 6 different ways to use Assault Synchron as we wait for the rest of the reveals for Battles of Legends Monstrous Revenge, which will be coming to the TCG on June 22nd, June 23rd for North America, as we're going to start the first one with the most used one, which is the Bestial Sprite version, and Assault Synchron is a level 2 that reads during your main phase. You can special summon this card from your hand, then take 700 damage. Also, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck except Synchro monsters, while this card is face up in the monster zone. If a face up dragon Synchro monsters you control is tributed or banished, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one of those monsters. Special summon it. You can only use each effect of Assault Synchron once per turn. So, a way to extend your plays, as it also allows you to get a level 2 on board without even normal summoning for the sprite stuff, as we'll then be able to activate the blue here, and we'll get ourselves the red so that we can protect our plays, as now we can use the rest of our hand, and we have protection through the red. So now we can activate the Foolish, and do keep in mind I'm doing perfect scenario for this particular hand, as I don't have any list built yet, so I won't be doing any deck list until we get more of the reveals, and from here we'll then be able to use the Shinobi Necro along with the Magna Hut, and then from here we'll go into our Accel, as we'll use the Accel in order to bring back the Assault Synchron, and then from here we can go into the Herald of the Arclight with the blue and the Assault, and then from here we'll tribute off the Accel in order to go into our Stardust, immediately synchro into our Dispatter, and then we'll be able to trigger the Assault Synchron in graveyard to revive the Accel, and now from here we can use the Dispatter to get back the Shinobi Necro so that we can get it back in the graveyard, as we'll go into another level 10 with the Accel and the Shinobi Synchro. From here there will be a few things that we can do, as we're going to activate our starter, get the Jet, and then from here the Jet can get ourselves the Sprite Smashers, but there is another route where you can just go into Gigantic, bring out Carrot, and then with the Jet you would search the Double Cross, or if you didn't have access into your Shinobi Necro when you got here, there is an alternative version where you can go into Sprite Sprint and then use the effect in order to send, quote-unquote, the Shinobi Necro, which will be banished by the effect of the Herald of the Arclight, and then you can trigger the banished Shinobi Necro in order to revive it, and then you can even go into Gigantic with the Shinobi Necro and the Sprite Sprint, as then you can bring out your Carrot or do something else. Now, the second more obvious one, as I get more into the interesting ones later in the video, is the Manadium version, and this is going to be more of a 3-card combo than a hand, as you see 2 of the cards in our hand are Ash and Imperm. So we're going to use the Visas to trigger off the Meek, and then we're going to go into our Lightheart. We'll use the Lightheart in order to get into our Reichphobia, which will be very important for this combo, and you'll see why momentarily, but we're going to use the Assault Synchron now in order to special summon itself, get another defense position monster on board, as we're going to now special summon the Reichheart so that we can get ourselves a search and a draw, and from here we'll then be able to go into our Borea, and this is a great card with Assault Synchron in so many different decks, as you'll see momentarily, but from here we'll then be able to use the Borea, which will send the Zephyros, and now you can use the Zephyros to return the Reichphobia, and then you can revive itself, as you now have access to a rank 4 or a level 8 Synchro, as we'll go into our Accel, and then from here you can revive the Meek, as we'll then be able to use the Accel, tribute it off for the Stardust, as now we can go into our Baron, and then from here we'll get the Assault Synchro to revive the Accel, as from there we can then go into our Dispatter, activate the Arrival, which will then be able to bring back the Reichardt, go into our Cross Jeep. Now we can go into our Vicious, as we'll then be able to trigger the Cross Jeep in order to bring back the Zephyros, use the effect of the Dispatter, and again there's a lot of stuff that you can do from this point. You can technically go into a 4-material Appaloosa from here, you can go into another level 6 Synchro, you can go into a 3-material Appaloosa if you have another extender in hand in order to synchro away with your Vicious, so you'd basically just end up using the Assault, the Zephyros, and the Cross Jeep for the Appaloosa, special summon whatever level 2 tuner you may have, and then go into another level 10 that way. But from here, we're just going to go into the Coral Dragon, as we're then going to go into the Appaloosa, get the draw off of Coral Dragon, and that will round out our end board. Now, the next one is one of the more cool ones, as you're able to send the Zephyros, as you saw with the Borea previously, and we're going to try to do that, as we're going to get into the Assault Synchron. We'll then get the Genta, which will be able to get us another gate, activate the gate, and then from here, we can banish the Genta in order to discard the Snow, and then get ourselves a draw, as we'll be able to get ourselves the Snow and the Genta effect. And then from here, we'll be able to get the search for the library, and I did that because we have the Assault Synchron in hand, so we can kind of pop off a little bit more with the rainbow and stuff, as we'll now activate the library, then use the Synchron effect in order to special summon itself. We'll then go into our Borea, use the effect of Borea. From here, you can send the Zephyros, then we'll be able to revive the Zephyros with its own effect as we put back the gates in our hand, and now we can go into our number 60 or even a level 8 Synchro if you want to do that. But this is basically just to get you more draws and give you some more synergy with the deck, as we get to also discard one, as we discard the Nessie here, as we have the gates in hand for the rainbow. And I'm just going to end this replay on that because I want to show what Assault Synchron does, and we already know what Dark Worlds do. Now, the next one is Super Heavy Samurai, and for this one we'll start with the wagon, as we'll be able to normal summon the wagon, use its effect, change it to defense position, use its effect, change it to attack position, get ourselves the booster, as we'll now be able to get ourselves access into a rank 4, as we're going to go into our X, and from here we can use the X in order to search ourselves the Assault Synchron. And now from here we can activate the bike, as we'll be able to search ourselves the Waka Flocka, activate the Waka Flocka, as we'll be able to use its effect, get ourselves the Benkei, special summon itself out, activate the Benkei, get ourselves the Soul Peacemaker, as we'll then be able to activate the Soul Peacemaker, use it on the Waka in order to tribute it off and get ourselves the Soul Piercer, so that we have 2 Earth monsters, or 2 Earth machines, so that we can go into our Knuckler. And now we'll trigger the Soul Piercer along with Knuckler in order to get our searches. And now we can use the box in order to get our extra search for the scale 8, as we'll be able to scale the 8, and then we'll Pendulum Summon now for 3, I believe, as we're going to get back the Flocka, the scale, and the box, as the scale will get back the Soul Piercer. And now we can go into our Express, as we'll be able to trigger the Soul Piercer in our graveyard and then chain link to the Express, as we'll bring back the Waka, and we'll get ourselves the Spy off the Soul Piercer, go into our Accel, use the Accel to bring back our bike, and then from here we can go into the Baron with the Express and the bike. And now we'll activate our Assault Synchron, as we'll then be able to go into Borea, and now you can use the Borea in order to send the Zephyros, use the Zephyros to bring back the Big Benkai, and now from here you can go into a rank 4, or you can go into whatever else you may want to, but there's also an alternative route where you can go into an Appaloosa, which is why I did it in this order, and now you can go into your Savage Dragon so that you can equip the Knuckler for it for 2 extra negates. You could have also gone into your Merrymaker, go into your Sargus, and then get the Regulus, but it just depends on which way you want to go about it. The next one is ABC, and this is a cool one because Assault Synchron does more than you think it might, and you'll see how as we use the Union Hanger on the B and we get ourselves the Driver, use the Driver in order to banish itself, get the C. We'll now activate the C as we can special summon it, and then from here we can go into our Gadget, as we'll be able to use the effect of B, get ourselves the search for the A, use the Gadget to bring out the A, and now we can special summon out our Assault Synchron, as from here you can go into a Borea, and from here you can use the Borea to send the Zephyros, use the effect of Zephyros to get back the Union Hanger, and then from there you can go into the IP Masquerena, you can go into a Synchro 8. It really depends on what you want to do and how much extra deck space you want to invest. From here we'll then be able to go into our ABC Buster Dragon to round out our end board, and the cool thing about this is that the Zephyros actually got us a discard for the Buster. Now for the final one, and this is more of a skeleton combo than anything else, I probably wouldn't recommend doing it in this particular deck, but the point of it will be clear, as we're going to use the Junk Converter, get our Junk Synchron, and then from here we can normal summon our Junk Synchron, get back the Converter, converter. And then from here, we'll go into our junk speeder, as we'll be able to use the junk speeder along with the converter to get back our assault synchron. And now we'll get 4 special summons, as we're going to get another assault synchron, junk synchron, jet synchron, and stardust synchron. Use the stardust synchron to get our stardust illumination. And now from here, we can go into our charge warrior, activate the jet along with the charge warriors. We'll get a search for the stardust synchron and the junk converter, or the draw for the stardust synchron and the search for the junk converter, as we'll now go into our Accel, use the Accel in order to bring back the Accel synchron, and then from there we can activate the stardust illumination, bring out the trail, and then from here we're going to go into the Scarlight. And now, because we have 2 level 2 tuners along with a dark level 8 synchro dragon, we can tribute off our stardust Accel on our opponent's turn, bring out the stardust, and then synchro away the 3 darks in order to go into our hot red King Calamity on our opponent's turn. And this is something that will be available through multiple decks, as you can see with the extra deck cards used. For the most part, a lot of decks will already be playing the Accel and maybe even the Stardust or the Scarlight, while the Assault Synchron is something that's going to be a mandatory card in quite a few decks in my opinion, so you'll already be using space for that. So I just thought that this was something interesting, because it means that if Nib isn't in the format, then it invites stuff like this to run rampant. Now, I would also like to point out some of the other decks that you can consider doing stuff like this in is Zombies, Chaos, as you also have the 100 Apple Dragon in order to make adventure builds and stuff like that. But I'll have more of that stuff later on as we get more info of what we get in the Battles of Legends set. Until then, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I thank you so much for watching. If you have any suggestions, feel free to leave them down below. It's Bones, signing out.